Chou Sentai Kyuranger is the 41st Super Sentai series, and quite an ambitious one, from its space-themed setting to nearly doubling the usual size of a Sentai cast by having 9 main heroes to start, to even having Bandai of America help consult on the toy line in order to appeal to Western sensibilities, since this was at the peak of the MCU's global reign. Toys that the American branch would never get to make, but that's a story for another day. Kyuranger may seem like a throw everything in the kitchen sink style season, but still has that charming Super Sentai spirit through and through. Despite the Kyurangers having to save the universe from an evil empire who's enslaving and destroying said universe, we still have the goofy visual gags and earnest emotional moments that make Super Sentai so enjoyable. While a lot of space stories like to focus on the loneliness and isolation of space, Kyuranger chooses to use the setting to embrace the life and freedom a huge universe of beings and possibilities can bring, which is enhanced even further by having the largest Sentai cast, with a good portion of them being aliens of various species. As for those heroes, the leader of the Kyurangers is Lucky, a space orphan with comically good luck and a cheery yet hot-headed attitude. While that is a pretty basic archetype for a Red Ranger in Super Sentai to be in, I appreciate how Kyuranger recontextualizes this by making his early feats be as purely amount of Deus Ex Machinas to a comical degree. An intentional comical degree, as it's later shown off that Lucky's feats are more than a joke, as it's based on his resolve to help others out and liberate the vast universe. He may be a dumbass to some, but he's a dumbass with conviction, a trait that he imparts on others throughout the series like a great leader should. You can be the most talented fella in the world, but without drive or a goal to pursue, be it exploring the world or improving your craft, is that talent even worth it? Lucky proves that great talent needs equally strong conviction to be used properly. As for Lucky's squad, there's Stinger, your typical bad boy loner character, initially going at most fights alone until forming a nice friendship with the Black Ranger, a robotic bull named Champ, who both have tragic pasts related to family. Yeah, they got off on the wrong foot, but they soon became a quintessential example of found brotherhood in this show. Garu, Hammy, Spada, and Raptor all fall under the same category of uniquely fun characters with nice one-off episodes and moments, but don't get as much focus as the other members in this large cast. They're still enjoyable dudes though, with the Blue Ranger Garu being my favorite with his brute force attitude in both fighting and thinking. Speaking of character pairs, Balance and Naga are the Gold and Silver Rangers, who are the best of friends, originally being stylish thieves before becoming Kyurangers. Balance is an excitable robot man, while Naga is an alien who has a hard time comprehending extreme emotions. They're a very entertaining duo, and I quite like when their friendship was pushed to the test during Naga's brief turn to the dark side. I also like how subtly the Kyurangers learn to accept Naga for who he is throughout the show, while from the start, Balance and Lucky are supportive of him and his quest for feelings. It's very subtle but interesting character work. Sho is a purple dragon and the head commander of the Kyuranger Rebellion, who's quite the mood maker of a mentor, loving to dance and crack wise to motivate the Kyurangers since he tried to become the Purple Ranger once of his own technology, divorced from the Kyurangers, but failed miserably. However, as a sign of his good deeds for leading the rebellion, the 9 Kyutamas grant his wish to become the 10th Kyuranger, completely throwing off the name pun of the show, but hey, they do lampshade that in a funny joke in his debut. We're not done with additional characters yet, as we have the Kid Ranger Kotaro. He is introduced very early on in the show before he gets his powers as the main Earth-based support for the Kyurangers when the rest of Earth's citizens found them troubling. Being an older brother who's stuck surviving in the middle of an intergalactic war, Kotaro feels determined to protect his younger brother and the rest of the universe. He's a good kid, and even if his appearances are limited, he's a treat to see every time. As for the final member of the Kyurangers, there's the Space Bustar Ho-Ho Soldier, aka Tsurugi. Tsurugi is one of the craziest debut fights in Sentai history, like this is some Devil May Cry shit on crack. Afterwards, we learned that Tsurugi was the first Kyuranger, a legendary warrior who was the first to fight against the Dark Matter, though these tales have been stricken from the history books since he had to be put in cryosleep for 300 years. He's a confident leader, but initially a bit of a jerk, being high and mighty about his legendary skills in order to make sure nobody gets hurt. Once he learns that the Kyurangers are just as competent as him, he starts to warm up to the team more and more and views them as comrades rather than just fighting fodder. That's a lot of characters, and that's not even getting to the side characters that help out the Kyurangers, the expansive lore of the Kyuranger universe, the villains, the phenomenal visual design both in the special effects and physical suits department, though the cast of characters are always going to be the biggest pull for me in a Sentai series, which is why I put a lot of emphasis on them in these analyses. In general, Kyuranger means a lot to me, and I don't think you need an American adaptation to appreciate it. It helped me get back into Tokusatsu in 2017 along with Kamen Rider Ex-Aid, while later along with Kamen Rider Gyo became a defining show in helping me rationalize my philosophy when it comes to media criticism. How I should trust myself and think about how I feel about the media rather than what a dumbass internet critic would say. Cause let me tell you, there was some nasty and looking back kinda nonsense Kyuranger critiques out there. Not saying that Kyuranger is exempt from criticism, I fully get why someone may not vibe with the show, but I love it, and I shouldn't be afraid to express that love. It may not be the deepest Sentai out there thematically, but goddamn, it knows how to put on an entertaining show while being a pure form of optimism and confidence. Even at humanity's lowest point, there will always be a shining star in the universe. Whether you find that star in yourself or your friends, that shit just hits, man.